Hi guys, Dennis here from Denny Bob's RC. I'm going to do a little bit of a review of the uh, CAT 770 made by Diecast Masters. They claim it's 12 scale. Um, we're going to do a few lift tests to see what it can actually handle. I'll do a few other things with it and kind of show you. First off, it comes in a nice flat box that you have to cut a bunch of bands and get it out of. I didn't want to waste my time showing you guys that part of it, but included in the box there is a set of mirrors that slide into the spots that they provide. Comes with a little game controller. Comes with two AAA batteries, a 6.4 1500 milliamp battery. I don't expect a lot of life out of that battery for runtime myself, and comes with a USB charger. It's kind of a strange plug-in on here. I've never seen one. It looks kind of like a Tamiya plug, but it's rectangular instead of, well, it's rectangular, but where it plugs in, it's square and round. I've never seen a plug-in like this before, but maybe down the road when I do some modifications, maybe I'll make a different battery holder or something. We're just going to do some testing as is today and see what we all think. Anyway, but yeah, it's just a USB charger is all it is. The controller, pretty simple, looks like. Yeah, it's got a screw on the back side, and we'll put the batteries in that. Just enough room for a couple of AAA batteries. I'm not a huge fan of the game controllers, just due to the simple fact is you can't program them, you can't switch anything, you can't do anything. But it's what they come with from the factory. The battery compartment is on the bottom. Got a couple of spring clips here. I think if I get enough fingernail, I can get them undone. And we'll get this battery. I did charge it up with the battery charger they did provide. I'll set that out of the way so it doesn't get knocked on the floor. And it does come with an instruction manual. Kind of shows you what the control does. Now let's see if we can get this plugged in here. It will only plug one direction. And there's a little spot for that to kind of sit down in. And we can get the battery put in. It looks like it actually has some kind of a centering device on the bottom, like a lot of the cheaper toys do, to center your steering for when you're driving it. We'll put it in the center and go from there. We will turn the radio on. It's got a red light that beeps at us, or blinks at us, not beeps. I'll set the screwdriver up to the side, and we'll turn the machine on. There it goes. And the light quit flashing on the controller. The steering is on the right joystick, and it's not proportional at all. It's all or nothing. So there's no holding it one way or the other. The drive is not proportional. You have all or nothing. There is no suspension on this machine at all. So if, per se, you get one of the rear tires off the ground, and it happens to raise the other one up enough. It's an open differential, so not having any suspension, so for uneven terrain, I feel if you got one rock under one rear tire, it's just going to sit and spin, which is unfortunate. But if you're, this is designed for 8-year-old kids. You know, it's a toy. It's a carpet runner, as far as I'm concerned at this present time. There may be some modifications that we can do down the road to make that better, but we're going to review it as it sits right now. Now, yeah, steering on one side. The only thing, the only time the lights come on is when you're moving it. I mean, that's it. You know, you can't turn the lights on and off or nothing. There is no sound kit to it whatsoever. No sound, no noise, no nothing. What you get is what you get. The main chassis of the machine is all plastic. The only thing metal on this whole thing is the box. Now, to raise and lower the bed, it's the upper buttons here, and it doesn't matter which one you push. And to me, it's a motor that's turning in there, that's just turning a crankshaft and pushing it up. Very similar, if any of you have ever owned the Diecast Masters 49X or the Hoyna 1573 dump truck or 573 dump truck. Same, similar. It's a motor that just has some push rods. These cylinders on the side are just for looks. The main lift is right here. Now, I will say one thing. There are a lot of metal pins with cotter pins and stuff to take apart. So it's fairly easy to tear it down if you have to, I think. But if you just push the button and you just hold the button, the motor will keep going around and it'll go back to the lift again. Same way as if you hold the other button. It goes down and it'll keep going and then it'll go right back up again. So there's no real up or down on that setup on these things. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to take and put a 3-pound weight right in the front of the box. We're going to see if it'll lift it. I'm assuming this probably has some kind of a slip clutch in it that if it can't lift it, it's going to slip. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, it kind of struggled with a 3-pound to get it to start up. Let's try a 5-pound. It's just a 5-pound, kind of set towards the front of the box, kind of where the main dirt load's going to be. Won't even lift a 5-pound weight before the slip clutch starts slipping. So, to me, if you're going to go out and use it and play in ground rubber, it might work. If you're going to go out and play with it, use like floor dry, it'll probably work. If you're going to go out with your big 6015 or your big Libeer or your big 374 or your Mother 700 or something and heap this thing full of dirt, it's not going to dump. That's it. That's the end of that review of that situation. Sadly disappointing. But there again, people, this is a toy that's meant for kids. It's not meant for us adults that are going to go out. But let's say your kid wants to go out and throw a bunch of dirt in it. He ain't going to be able to dump it. You're going to have to help it. Whether it will actually drive, let's do this. There. That's a total of 16 pounds. Let's see if it... Yeah, it'll tow that much weight in the box on a flat surface. Is it going to go do it out in the grass? I guarantee you. Actually, if you look in the instructions, which nobody does, they don't recommend going out in tall grass with it. It's just not recommended. To me, honestly, for what it costs, it's a great start to something that can be probably made better. That in all, it's a great base unit to start a project with, I think. Am I sadly disappointed in how it performs on the lifting and that? Well, not really. Not for what it costs. I didn't spend $3, $4, $5,000 on this dump truck. I paid $100 for it, and then I had to pay tax and shipping on top of it. But you don't get much for $100 anymore. That's just the way it is. But well, that is kind of my testing of this. I may take it outside and do some running around in the dirt, throw some bunch of weight in it, and just see if it'll drive around on some dirt. The tires being kind of a soft rubber may give it a little bit of flex as far as some suspension, but there is no actual suspension movement in it. It's just all the looseness of the plastic, the twisting of the plastic. That's all you get. So I noticed that steering was not steering right. So I'm wondering what is wrong with that. Well, now it steers. I know what it was. It steers fine when it had no weight in it. But when I took and put, let's just put 8 pounds in it, will it steer? Nope, it won't. There lies the problem. It should be able to sit there and steer the front tires with weight in it. Will it steer it when I try to move it? Barely. I can't get it to steer the one direction at all. So testing review. Go out and run it around empty. Basically. That's what you're going to be able to do. It's going to need a stronger steering servo. It's going to need either to lock the rear differential gears that are currently in it to make it so that it will drive no matter what terrain you're on. Those are probably going to be two of the, what I want to call, cheaper modifications to it. But there again, you're going to have to take and put another radio, different receiver, probably install an ESC so that you can power this motor and make this motor more proportional, because it's non-proportional. It's all or nothing now. So, and my curiosity also is the 6.4 volt system that the battery provides. Can we run up to a 2S in it? I suppose if we get a 2S, if we get an ESC that will handle 2S, because I really don't want to run anything more than that to the motors. The motor, I'm sure, is all designed just for the 6.4. The 2S will provide probably a little bit more battery power to the motors. Might even give a little bit more power to the stock steering. But there again, will those motors tolerate that much? Or are we better off to kind of put a regular steering servo in it and then lock the rear differentials, and then add an ESC, put a regular radio in it. The one thing that I have been toying with is getting away from this lift. The unfortunate thing about this lift is it does not lift it high enough to actually, I don't think, to dump. Does not give it enough slope, especially if you're backed up an incline or something. It's still virtually sitting flat. It's not going to unload. You'll actually have to back it down into a hole or get more stroke on the dumping of it. One thing, I did look at this and I figured, you know, this is a perfect spot if we can find the correct linear actuator, an Octronics linear actuator, to go in this spot and do away with the other lift mechanism altogether. That's entirely possible. Anything's possible if you're willing to do the work. But for now, I'm just doing some of the ideas I have for modifying it to make it better. I think it's a great base machine for starting. I mean, this plastic is probably smoother and nicer than anything 3D printed. That's a given, because everything 3D printed, if it's any kind of a body part, you really have to sand, primer, and do a lot of work to get those things baby smooth. I'm not knocking 3D printing. I've used some of that stuff in the past. Great for ornamental stuff, frame for bodies and whatnot. I'm just not a fan for using it for anything structural. And maybe with some metal reinforcement, some of that stuff is great. The only other thing, I know there's different 3D printing quality stuff. That's another thing. Some of the stuff I've seen, not that great of quality. I know there's guys that actually go out there and build complete excavators out of 3D printed stuff. They definitely use a much better quality material to do their models. That is for sure. Because there's no way you could just go out and 3D print something that I have seen built and it be strong enough to do what we want to do. There's no way. So those guys have got their shit together and got it figured out. But anyway, all in all, it's a great toy. That's what it is. It's not hobby grade, it's toy grade. So hopefully in the upcoming months, I will go through and do some videos on some upgrades as I do them. It might be a while. I've got a bunch of other projects. I've got a show coming up in Dubuque, Iowa at first part of November that I'm going to go to. And I'm trying to get stuff prepared and ready to go to that. So I'm not trying to get any builds started right now, because unless it's quick and easy. What I will probably do is, if I do any little bit of building from here on out, I will share a few videos here and there. But for now, that is what I'm going to call my review of the Die-Cast Masters. I'm going to shut the Die-Cast Masters Cat 770 mining truck. They claim it's 12 scale. I'd say it's between 12th and 14th, right in there, pretty close. So anyway, that's all I got to say for now. Catch you guys later.